And back to your scheduled programming. We got No BS Ted with me, Ryan from No Border Sports, and Ted from No BS Ted. What up, everybody?
What up?
You're
Happy
muted.
Tuesday. Oh, am I?
We've been having issues already. He muted me. Now he's muted himself. It's going great. Oh, now
No, I
say
wasn't
something
muted.
now. What? Uh-oh. What'd you do during the commercial break?
I moved my mic. How's that?
What'd you do?
Better?
Is he resetting?
My mic back in.
I can't hear you.
Huh.
Here we are. We're having fun. Let's give a shout out to some people. I'll comment when I can finally hear you, Ted. If we ever get to that point, we were just talking earlier. This is weird. We got
Seems to
Jimmy
be
in the
working
house.
now.
What up, Jimmy? Appreciate you stopping in. Jimmy says, "Yo, good morning, Ted and Ryan." Yes, we're about to be afternoon, or it is in some places. We got Daniel Barry, Sports and Highlights. What up, Daniel Barry? Make sure to go check him out. He's got a great channel filled with a whole bunch of Rams highlights. And then we got CarCast in the house. What up, CarCast? Appreciate you. Make sure to go check out CarCast and his channel. He's you can see some of the guys that just got drafted. He interviewed at least two of these draftees. Not ours, but people in there. Ooh, retire Braun. Ah, that's a spicy comment. Spicy. Yeah. Here we
All right,
are.
can you hear me now?
I still haven't figured it out.
I thought I did.
What happened, Ted?
I don't know. It looks like it.
Because it says you're unmuted here.
Yeah.
What did you do? What did you touch?
Try something.
Holy moly.
How's that?
Got nothing.
How's that?
I bet you it's something simple. He's probably going to kick himself once he figures it out. You don't have a mute button on the mic, do you?
How's that?
No.
No.
What are we doing? What happened?
How about that? See, that show's working on my end.
So, yeah, he's going to leave and come back. Hopefully that'll work. So draft. Daniel Barry, what was your favorite player the Rams picked? We actually, let's talk about this little story. So, real quick. What up, media? Appreciate you stopping in.
How about now?
Ah, here we are. We're in the money.
All right.
Was it just something weird? You just
Yeah, because it was showing on my end. It was showing the output, and
So-
the little green bars were pinging. So
something happened on my end when I went to go start the timer. It just like went to a black screen. I'm sure you saw that there for a second.
yeah,
Like nothing happened. And I'm like, what is going on? And then it told me failed to, then it tried to tell me my mic had been disconnected for some reason. It's like, yeah, idiot, you're playing the video. You disconnect my mic every time you play the video, right?
I never plugged mine back in. Apparently, well, mine was unplugged physically.
Who knows? Maybe
that's
that
why
was
it-
what did it.
Yeah,
I don't
could
know.
be.
I was gonna get into since Daniel Barry is a Rams fan, I was gonna get into the that Adam Schefter story where he was talking about how the Niners really wanted Gerald Everett, and the Rams went and got
In
him.
2017.
2017, they wanted Gerald Everett, and the Rams went and got him, and then the Niners essentially had to go with their backup plan, which was a George Kittle, which also was one of the Seahawks' guys. So the Rams getting Gerald Everett screwed the Seahawks from getting George Kittle, and it made sure we got George Kittle. That's a pretty big movement there, you know, as far as trajectories and franchise histories go. You know what I'm saying? That's woo.
As long as I'm just glad the Seahawks didn't get Kittle. That could have changed everything. So
I wouldn't want to go up against him twice a year.
Absolutely not.
It's not something I've said about Jamal Adams, who is rumored to be in talks with the San Francisco 49ers. What's your thought on that?
I mean, I said as long as he's cheap on the timeline, but really, yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty much a hard no.
Okay, so, you know, we're Joe Stevens. And Joe Stevens and I on the rivalry, we talked about this all last year about how useless Jamal Adams is. And they tried doing everything. They tried doing a hybrid system. They tried doing this. And like, unless you move him to linebacker, there's no reason to have him on this team. He's not going to beat out anybody.
Well, maybe some of the scrubs, but yeah.
He's not going to beat out any of the starters. Like, he's not going to be starting. So why are you even worried about him?
Linebacker might make some sense.
He also kind of, you saw him on Twitter and whatnot, or going after people and shit like that. That's not a guy we want in the locker room. Holy shit.
Yeah, Anshul said it best. He said, don't anywhere close to this team. He's a cancer.
That's right, Anshul. So yeah, we got those out of the way. Let's talk draft. Round 1, Ricky Pearsall. We kind of talked about this. First 3 draft picks, I thought they're guys that can contribute year 1. I think Puni can start at right guard, if need be. Well, I think he might need be, but everybody else, I mean, I don't know if Pearsall is worth taking somebody like a Jawan Jennings out on like 3rd downs. You know what I mean? But I see him getting some touches this year. I see him ending with like 500 or 600 yards this year, maybe more.
Yeah, I mean, he might be a red shirt, but even if you try and red shirt him, Debo might get hurt. You can pretty much count on Debo missing a few games at this point. And yeah, Pearsall is our fastest wide receiver, or faster than any of the incumbent wide receivers, I should say.
Yeah.
And better leaping ability, better hands, really good route running ability. So in a lot of ways, he's a step up, other than the yak part. But I think we saw in this class a shift away from yak and towards route running and hands.
I don't know if that's totally fair on him, because when I was watching his highlights and stuff like that, he's catching balls that aren't placed correctly. And I'm thinking, if you have a Brock Purdy back there slanging it to him, who knows how to put him in the spots where people can catch him on the run, I think he gets become a yak bro. I think he's a yak bro. You know what I mean?
So well, the Florida quarterback was terrible. I just think that
many times he had to stop or come back or, you know, lean back, this and that, which slows him up. And then somebody's there on top of him.
Yeah. I just think that with Brock Purdy being a more proficient downfield thrower than, say, Jimmy G, when you throw downfield, you typically get less yak than you get when you're throwing underneath in short and mid-range stuff. So I think it's just natural that our guys will start to get. We started last year. We started getting less yak because we were getting so many more yards before the catch. But Pearsall with darts and dimes from Purdy could definitely get more yak than what we saw in college. And so that's not out of the question. Cowing definitely had some pretty good yak, but Cowing, we can wait till we get to him. But for me, my only concern with him is size and hands.
Yeah. And one thing I want to, so you know how Kyle likes to kind of red shirt rookie wide receivers and such. I think his route running ability is probably going to have him skip that, because I think his routes are so clean and crisp that I think he looks like he's running the same routes as Brandon Ayuk without the footwork that Brandon Ayuk does, because Brandon Ayuk has amazing footwork as far as, breaking people's ankles off the get, and just, at the top of the route. So I think that's where Ricky needs to really do work, is his footwork, because he's got his routes down pat. I mean, he knows exactly how deep he's supposed to go. He cuts on a dime. That's one thing that's nasty about Ricky. He changes direction just immediately, which is nasty.
Yeah, no, he had a good 3-cone, good 20-yard shuttle, good 40 time. So yeah, somebody posted that they thought that Ricky Pearsall, the Niners hoped that Ricky Pearsall might become Adam Thielen, the next Adam Thielen, and I quote tweeted it and said, actually, you might be selling Pearsall short, and that as far as measurables go, I'm not saying he will be Adam Thielen. I'm just saying he could be more than Adam Thielen, because Thielen's 40 time was a 4.49, Pearsall's was 4.41, almost a full tenth of a second faster. Thielen's vertical was 36. Pearsall's was 42, so 6 inches more vertical leap, which is huge, half a foot. Broad jump, 10 foot even for Thielen, 10'9" for Pearsall, so almost a full foot further on the broad jump. That's explosiveness for sure. 3-cone were close. Thielen 6.67, but Pearsall a little bit better at 6.64. And then 20-yard shuttle, Thielen was 4.49, and Pearsall was 4.05. So almost a half second faster on the 20-yard shuttle as well too. So, and weight similar, 192 for Thielen, 189 for Pearsall. You expect Pearsall to add a little weight as he gets older. But, the one thing about this draft class, I mean, I saw a few big shifts in the draft class. Like, one was a little bit away from yak, a little bit more towards route running. One was,
and I think that's because they're not worried about developing right now. They want somebody who can
plug and play
essentially. Yeah.
Already grown into their man body.
Yeah.
But, won't need as much time to develop
or come up to speed in the system. Cause I think Ricky knows what the hell is going on as far as football goes. And yeah. I think once and there's going to be a learning curve. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's got it in the bag, but I think he'll take quickly to it. And I think he'll really embrace it, because smart people, when you get a smart system, they take that and they run with it like it's the Bible. You know what I mean? Like it's the word of God, because they're smart enough to see how smart the system is, and they're just going to buy into it, sell out.
No doubt about it. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a huge shift in this draft too, as a way, if you think about some of our former draft picks were young and inexperienced and had traits like tall, fast, big arm, that type of thing. And now most of these draft classes more like, experience, proven production, older, more mature, more ready to go right away, less of like, oh, they have so much potential or upside. It's just sort of like, no, they've proven what they can do. Other than maybe Isaac Guerendo, the running back, maybe he has a little bit to prove at the next level. But I remember during the draft, they were saying basically like not a ton of college production for Guerendo, but a guy who very well could be much more productive in the NFL than he was in college because of his ability to catch, his ability to pass block as well too.
All right. So what I've seen some tape of him that somebody was kind of showing how it seemed like he was hesitant at seeing and hitting the hole, which in the outside zone is not going to work well. One thing, I'm not saying that this is him 100% of the time. I haven't seen enough tape to condemn him on this or really label him as this. I just want to kind of put that cliff note out there. So anybody who's going over tape and this and that, tell me I'm wrong. Media might know. Tell me if I'm wrong, or it's something to look at while you're going over tape of him. But one thing I was seeing when I saw him run, it reminded me of Jared Hayne, the rugby player, because he kind of runs standing up.
Upright?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, yes and no. Because, yes, for traditional style of football going through the hole, yeah, that's not good. When you're outside zone, it kind of doesn't matter as long as nobody's touching you. You know what I mean? It means nothing. If you can hit the hole, it doesn't matter. Because once you hit the hole, you're gone and through it. And you just gotta make a guy miss. So with the new kickoff, kind of looking to me kind of like not a rugby scrum, but how they kind of line up in rugby and kind of do their, not kickoff, but how they kind of start the play where everybody lines up and then you toss the ball to somebody and then there you go, boom, it starts going. He seems like a rugby player. So if that kickoff kind of reverts to kind of a rugby play, never know, his style of running might pay off. Because think about this. He's a big guy, right? So in that big play, you're gonna have other big guys out there probably. And if you hit the middle, which is probably where the big guys are going to be, you're going to need a little extra oomph to kind of wiggle out of it. Now, if he breaks through the line, he's got the speed to take it to the house. So that's kind of one thing I thought about him. I didn't know if he might be the kick returner because he's also got hands, right? So if you got hands to catch that ball, maybe you got hands to catch that return. And we got other guys this year that we drafted that are returners also. Seemed like that was a big key again this year. They were looking for people who can plug and play with this new kickoff formation play.
Yeah, I mean, Cowing is sort of like a faster version of Ray McLeod.
Yeah, which when we got Pearsall, I was like, oh, he's going to take over Ray's job. I think Cowling's going to take over Ray's job.
Or both could be right. It could be. Yeah. It could be Cowing for kick returns because that's the short area quickness side of things. And it could be Pearsall for punt return because it requires better hands. And Pearsall definitely has way better hands.
I just don't know how we keep all these. We need people who are like copies of other players for when, we kind of could use a Debo for when Debo goes down, right? And it seems like we got all these individuals, which is, look, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not complaining about this and that, but it's nice to also have people who can kind of step up in that role, in that same type of role. So that flow stays the same. Kind of like when, it's a bad example, but Ray for Debo last year, like, Debo and Ray kind of, I don't know, kind of have the same footwork, I guess you would say, like kind of take the same routes, kind of stuff like that. So it's kind of, even though Ray's not putting his shoulder down and finishing his runs on people, you know what I mean? They're not doing that stuff, but Ray fit into Debo's role very nicely. And I think that's kind of something we're lacking because everybody's kind of their own individual. So it's, the offense changes as people go in and out. To me, not saying I'm right, but
yeah, I think Cowing will be able to do, like I said, a lot of what Ray did, and then Pearsall is going to add the route running component and the better hands, because none of our receivers have great hands. Let's face it. I mean, BA has good hands, Debo not so good, and Jennings has a really high drop rate, essentially.
Jennings has a really high drop rate.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think it's been like 17% most of his career, which is pretty huge. Anything over 10% is bad.
But that third down percentage is really nice.
Yeah,
really nice.
Yeah. Third downs and touchdowns, he's money, but
right.
A lot of the rest of them are a very dicey proposition.
Hey, if you're only going to him on third down, what does it matter? Right?
Yeah.
That's money every time. I don't care. pay money for that guy. Oh, we got Red Jet Shell in the house. What up, Red Jet? Appreciate you stopping by. Oh, he's got the drops, huh? The dropsies.
Well, and Anshul would know. He goes to Arizona, so
Anshul's down there in Arizona.
He is finishing up, I think, this quarter.
Really? You've been down there the whole time? What part of Arizona? My daughter lives down there.
T-Town, Tucson is where U of A is. Yeah.
I heard some of our players were, who was it?
Not too far from the border.
One of our players was talking about he was down. I think it was Conley. He was talking about he was down in Chandler, which is right next to where my daughter lives. I was like,
yeah.
Huh?
No, go ahead. I was mistaken. I was about to stick my foot in my mouth, so I stopped.
Well, congratulations, sir.
The extra quarter.
Hey, whatever. As long as you if you're gonna start something,
or maybe it's 2 quarters early. Maybe that's what it is.
Oh, I think he's a 2 quarters early type of guy.
There you go.
He's gonna get his shit done, get it done, and get it done quickly, and then move on.
I wish I was just a quarter late with my degree.
Oh, I never went.
There you go.
I was never late, bro. Best decision ever.
There you go.
Actually, I went to college for 2 weeks to get my Washington State high school diploma.
GED.
No, it's higher than a GED.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've got enough credits essentially to get the Washington State diploma, which is not like the same diploma that you get from the high school. It's one step underneath that and one step over the GED. It was just like, see my transcript, and then you just take a college class, and then you get your high school diploma. I did a projects class. I pretty much plagiarized it. I copied the information down, and then I just cut out some of I cut out like the body of it, and I rewrote it, and then I left in all the stats and the numbers. There you go. Boom. High school diploma. Thank you. I made a really good oral presentation, though, that I didn't even actually do, but my little chart and graph thing was amazing.
Nice. I love it. Hey, you got through. You got your sheepskin. You're official.
Sheepskin?
What's they call degrees? Sheepskins.
Oh, I just remember sheepskin was another type of prophylactic.
No, I think it's lamb.
Well, you're right. It is lambskin.
Yeah.
I'll be dead by the time I finish this bachelor. Oh, damn. Oh, that's just a bachelor's. Oh, yeah. I have to get reincarnated just to get to the doctorate. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you stopping in, Red Gel.
I met somebody out on the trails the other day. He was studying birds, and I was like, I saw he had a rental car. There's like a rental car service that's sort of more like the online version. Blanking on the name of, if you just want a car quickly, it's not like Hertz or Avis or one of the mainstream ones, but anyway. And I was like, oh, where are you in from? He's like, oh, I'm at Stanford. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And so he's studying ornithology. He said, no, he's studying like environmental impact, whatever. I'm like, oh, it sounds more profitable. So you probably need it after paying for your Stanford PhD. He said, no, actually, they pay me to be a PhD student here. I'm like, oh, that's a good deal. There you go.
What?
A little bit.
How do you swing that?
Well, PhD, because you've already gone and gotten your bachelor's and you gotten your master's, then you go get your PhD. And by then they figure you're probably out of money and time to pay you a little stipend to keep you moving.
Red Jet, you got to get on this game.
Yeah.
You got to get on this hustle.
Just get to that 3rd level and you're all set.
I'm telling you.
You become a professional student.
Yeah, they pay you, I hear. He's telling me they pay you now.
At least this one guy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about everybody else.
Did you get his number? Jesus. So, one of the draft
also
picks.
told me there's bald eagles in Menlo Park, and I was like, in Palo Alto. I was like, that's crazy. I had no idea they were this far south. I knew they were up by you in Washington and
Oh yeah, I seen
Alaska and Canada. I didn't know that.
bald eagles.
He said they're actually in all the lower 48 now. He said they reintroduced them in California just before reintroducing the condors to kind of see if it could be done, and it worked out well, and that's why they went forward with the condors reintroduction there at Big Sur, California, just south of Monterey.
I was driving to work one morning, and all of a sudden I see, well, I didn't know what this was, but I saw a squirrel just drop right in front of my truck as I'm driving, like just drop. And I'm like, oh, what is that? Next thing you know, bald eagle comes in, flies down, looking at me, coming at me, picks the squirrel up as I'm hitting the brakes. I ain't hitting a bald eagle. And it just kind of right over the front of my truck. And I was just like, America, motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Because that was great shit. That was amazing. Yeah, bald eagles are the shit. But I want to talk about one of the guys, the two, let's talk about them both. The two guys in the draft, I think, who are really going to stand out. And that's Renardo Green and Malik Mustafa. Green, I think, could play week 1. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of him this year. And Mustafa, I think we're going to see a lot of him too, maybe this year. He's going to find a way onto the field, and not just special teams. One thing, when I saw both their interviews, like afterwards when they were talking to the press corps, they both kind of struck me as like almost like CEO type. You know what I mean? It seemed like they had everything planned out. They were in control, and that they had it all mapped out, and all they were worried about is getting to that next part on the goal list, because it's all set in stone. All I got to do is keep working hard, and once I get to this level, then I got to concentrate on this. And it seems like they've got everything mapped out, which got me extremely excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for the draft class. I don't know that a lot of them will see a lot of time this season, but I think we did good in building for the future. I mean, clearly, like with Pearsall, I think, if Debo gets injured, we'll see him. With Renardo Green, I love his press man coverage ability, but I think he might be more of a Mooney Ward replacement down the road. Just because he doesn't have a lot of off-ball zone experience or proficiency, and that's kind of important. At least so far in our defensive makeup, we play a lot of zone, more zone than man, and so it might take him a little time to adjust to that. We also got that Isaac Yiadom guy and Rock Yassin. I think those are you might see more of them this year.
We don't play that crazy of a zone defense. And zone is the easiest to kind of get and understand. So you might be right about that, keeping them off the field, but I don't really see that.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Time will tell, as the wise man said. I definitely like the pick. I think he's got a lot of skills. The other thing too that Renardo Green may have to work on a little bit is not being so handsy as he was in college, where you can get away with that a little bit more. You're going to end up with more PI calls in the NFL if he keeps that up. So that might be a little bit of an adjustment for him as well. But I love the pick. It was a little bit of a reach, but cornerback was a big need for us, or is a big need, cornerback depth. And I think Ambry Thomas's days are numbered.
Our picks always are going to seem like a reach unless we're picking in the top 10. The reason being is that our requirements are different than other teams. So therefore, the best available players on our list aren't like most in the draft boards around the league. Maybe in like Miami, maybe in Houston, maybe in New York. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's the same in New York. So I when everybody's like, oh, they reached, no, they didn't. They got the guy that they knew they wanted in that, in that area on their board when they believed they could have got him. And because they're not trying to mess around. They've got guys that they want because they're qualities. They're the team captains. What they do on and off the field. It seems like Herm Edwards is going to get somebody drafted to the Niners anytime he calls up Lynch and tells them how amazing of a route runner they are. So it seems like the 49ers go off a lot of different things that the other league is. Like Pearsall's like, no, we didn't really talk. I didn't talk to the 49ers much. Didn't really have much of an idea. 49ers had an idea. They knew exactly. They've been looking at him for 3 or 4 years now because Herm Edwards said something. So the reach thing, I don't give a shit anymore. It's just how we do business. It's a part of the thing. I'm not expecting us to get best player on the board ever with these guys at the helm. And it served us well. So reach, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They usually pay out. I think they hit better than anybody else in the league just for the fact that we don't do a lot in free agency and we do a lot through building through the draft. And yes, we're going to fail at certain times, but everybody does. The average is just crazy. I can't believe how many players don't make it. I don't think they get put in the right situations with some teams. I think the incumbent players usually have a big leg up on players as far as, favoritism and whatnot, unless these players are going high. So I think, Brock Purdy we might not know Brock Purdy if he went to a different team. You know what I mean? In certain situations, but Brock Purdy was able to be given a chance here on the Niners. And I think that's where his talent was able to be shown through because they're just looking for everybody.
There you go. Yeah. No, I mean, when I say a reach, I just meant that they could have been taken a little bit later, but, probably not as later as our next pick. So,
and I'd like to put, also in some drafts you will. What was that one draft? The draft we drafted Purdy in. There was like an extra because of COVID. There was like two seasons worth of seniors in the draft. So that we had a lot of good players going in that year in the draft. That's why Purdy, who was supposedly going to be a 5th round pick the year before, was almost undrafted. It was the last pick in the draft. He dropped 2 rounds essentially. So this year was bad. The Niners were like, we got 22 people on the board and we picked somebody who was not on the top 10 list, who wasn't a first rounder. And I'd like to add, we got him as a first rounder. So that means we have a 5th year option. So if we're going to have to pay Purdy, this is going to help keep another asset on the team for cheap, because top wide receivers might be up over 30 million, and an average one might be around 27 at that point in time. And if you're only paying him his rookie deal money, that's saving you about $16 million, maybe $17 million, $18 million, something around there. That'll get you another player. So reaching in certain aspects, like if you're getting a skilled player like this, where their contract could get crazy when you get them when they get their second contract, it just pays off to get them in the first round if you have that much confidence in them.
There you go. And when you're talking about rookie contracts, I'll bounce up to a previous comment where Anshul said, do you guys think Green will be in the slot? I don't think Green will be in the slot because I think there is, all things equal, you want to put Deommodore Lenoir in the slot because he's going to get paid first, and nickel corners get paid a lot less than boundary corners. And so I think as much as possible, you want to play Deommodore Lenoir in the nickel this year, or boundary on base downs and nickel on passing downs, and have those like Yiadom and Rock Ya-Sin out there on the boundary. and or Rock Ya-Sin out on the boundary on passing downs, and then plug in Green out there on the boundary. And so you get 3, 4, 5 years of cost controlled boundary corner through Green that way. Whereas Diomede Lenoir is going to go up soon, whether it's up, a lot to be a nickel or up a lot to be a boundary. That's the question.
I also think that looking at their games, I think that I think Diomede Lenoir's best position is in the slot. I might be wrong. It might be half and half at this point, but when he came in and started playing in the slot, he was lights out. And people were like, oh, damn, can't go there. Can't go there on him. He's working hard. And when he went outside, he had some issues, but they figured it out. And I think we just put, I think Green's a dog. And I think he'll be great on the outside. Demo on the inside, seasoned vet. A lot of the teams in our division are trying to attack us with that slot receiver. So to put somebody like Demo, who's seasoned on the inside there, I like that. Outside, you're going to get a lot. You can get some better protection because the safeties are looking that way, trying to make sure nobody goes up the numbers on them. So I think it's better. But your point about paying the money, I did not think about that, and that is a great idea or a great point, which Anshel also agreed with.
So should we talk a little bit about Pooney?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on him?
I mean, I like that he's versatile. I like that he is all of our O-linemen, drafted or undrafted, that we picked up, all 4 of them, are very athletic. They all had really high RAS scores. Pooney and Kingston, I think his name is, the one from, Jared Kingston from USC, are both very versatile. I like that. Run blocking might have suffered with each of them a little bit, but it just signals another shift that we're seeing in the 49ers. A lot of people thought we wanted to get Roger Rosengarten, who the Ravens swiped just in front of us, and maybe we did. But maybe it's one of those things where we got lucky that we didn't, because he was kind of the old mold. What we had when we had Jimmy G, which was great run blockers who suffered in pass blocking. And now both these guys, neither one gave up a sack in 2023. And I don't think Pooney gave up a sack in 2022 either. So, there's a paradigm shift as we start to shift away from being a run-first team, which we saw in the playoffs. We had more pass plays than run plays by pretty good margin in the playoffs. I think we'll see that continue, at least against tough opponents. And the more you do that, the more you need guys who can pass block. And so that was the third big shift that I saw. I saw, the Yak to route running, the Trey Lance type to the Brock Purdy type as far as age and experience, and the pass blocking being prioritized more than run blocking in the offensive linemen that we picked up. At least that we drafted. The 2 that are undrafted, I don't know as much about. The center from Michigan and another center from, I think it was Southern Mississippi. But ultimately, those are some of the big 3 paradigm shifts that I noticed in this draft.
So Pooney, for the first 2 years in college, was at a college where they just passed all the time. So he spent the last year, where was he at? He's out of
Kansas.
Yeah. And he says, and then I got to start to kind of learn how to block in the run game, which is fine. To me, it's fine because run blocking is the easiest thing to do. And if you're an athlete, hitting all these stats, you'll be great. Well, you've got a better chance at being it. So a lot of the pass blocking guys, they're kind of rigid. They're not necessarily as fast. They're sturdy though, so they don't get moved around as much. But if you can move and be nimble, you can figure out your pass block, and you're fine in the run game, because Kyle's going to get you to where you need to be. And then all you're going to have to do is put your body on a guy. So if they're fast and athletic, they'll be able to get in position and then be able to put their body on a guy. It'll be easy. I'm not saying it won't be easy, but it'll be easier than teaching a guy who's a good run blocker how to pass block. That's a lot different.
Especially if they're athletic. That's the big key, is being able to get up to the second level. And that's why I have no confidence that McKivitz will ever be a really good run blocker, because he's just not an athlete.
And I don't see him being a tackle. It seems like they get around the edge on him at times, and that's not what I'm trying to see. But he could be a really good guard, and we might be able to put Feliciano at right tackle if need be, because I think Feliciano might be a better tackle than McKivitz. I'm not 100% sure on this. It's just he's a vet and he's played all over the line, so I would expect him to produce better than McKivitz, whether his arms are as long or not.
Interesting. I hadn't heard that theory, but we heard it here first. I like it. I mean, anybody but Jalen Moore, sort of my mantra.
Dude, why? Oh, fucking John Lynch comes out in that little press conference. We're really happy with our tackles, and Jalen Moore has done nothing but great things. And how come every fucking preseason we point at Jalen Moore going, why the fuck is this guy on the team? If he's doing great stuff, then why can't we see it? Why does everybody play their best ball when we can't fucking see it, John? Huh?
He's just cheap. That's all he is.
Javon Kinlaw doing a great job. We're seeing great things out of Javon Kinlaw. We're seeing great. He's doing great out here.
Kinlaw did play well in 2023. He had a good camp and he played well in 2023, but not enough to make up for all the rest. Yeah, exactly.
1 year.
Well, hopefully somebody can step up, because we did not draft on. That was my biggest gripe with the draft, was no pure offensive tackle drafted. Or
we never draft tackles. I saw somebody put up, we've drafted 4 tackles, and it was like Skull, McKivitz. Yeah, we haven't drafted it. Oh, more.
McGlinchey.
Yeah, McGlinchey. Those guys, like, or not McKivitz, but we didn't even Brunskill. We didn't even draft Brunskill.
No, he was undrafted. Out of like the XFL or USFL or one of those feeder league.
Do they not want to even attempt it?
I think just the timing got messed up.
Timing?
Yeah.
We've been talking about this as a fan base for almost 3 years now.
No, I know, but it just meant during the draft. The Ravens swooped us. The Chiefs got Simatea.
Look. Okay, maybe.
And we gave the Chiefs that pick too.
Maybe last year you want to talk about timing, but you miss your chance 2 years in a row, and the second year you want to talk. Oh, the timing was off. No, you missed it the first year. You need to make.
There was an on-field guy from Arizona too that they liked, who went like 24th overall, I want to say. Also, Arizona offensive tackle, Jared. I forget.
Yeah, I don't know what they're the 49. They always get guards. What are they just so scared of, like offending any guards that or tackles that they have, that they just like, we're just gonna draft guards?
I think they thought Rosengarten would be there, and the Ravens grabbed him. And then I don't know that they wanted Simatea, because you don't trade back with a tackle needy team like the Chiefs. If
you want somebody and there's nobody else around that you want, then you need to go up and get them.
Well,
plain and fucking simple.
Guess what? It's not week 1 yet either, so there's still time to sign or trade somebody as well. So we'll see what happens.
Why sign or trade? How much money do we have? We don't.
You can always
In this draft,
you can always free up money if you really need to.
In this draft, we were worrying about 2025 in certain positions and stuff like that. Well, why don't we worry about 2025's tackle spot? We don't. We haven't. We've been talking about needing a tackle for multiple years now, and they just, oh, no. Our Band-Aid is holding firm. That's all McKivitz is he's a Band-Aid.
Yep, but he's cheap.
They tried to work magic, and instead of like admitting defeat and going back to the drawing board, they're just gonna put more tape on it and put more tape on it.
I mean, if you look at it as McKivitz did okay last season, and I don't think he was the main reason we lost the Super Bowl. I'd say that was Dre getting injured. I'd say it was Feliciano getting injured. I'd say it was the 2 fumbles. So, I think it was Burford was a bigger issue than
you're either getting better or you're getting worse. Wide receiver depth wasn't the reason why we lost the Super Bowl. You're either getting better.
Route running in hands with Debo, could say he didn't separate and he dropped some balls. And so someone who can do that could be the difference. If Pearsall's up to speed by the stretch run in the playoffs, maybe he can make a difference.
But we're talking about like the last play. And
plus, I mean,
Chris Jones in Brock Purdy's face.
The Debo and Ayuk trade rumors haven't gone away either, have they? They seem to be back a couple of days. Like they came back. Yesterday. Yesterday.
Yeah. So
they were gone basically Sunday.
So
Saturday and Sunday they were gone, and now they're back Monday. So
let's be real. The price is too much for BA. And
we're not trading Brandon Ayuk.
And Debo's dead cap is money or whatever we'd have to eat is too much for anybody to want to pay the price for us to eat it.
11 million in June we might do.
But still, I don't. This is the other thing. Somebody put this perfectly the other day. Debo is Brandon Ayuk is a necessity and Debo is a luxury. So who's paying all that money for a luxury? Who's really in a spot where they can spend money on luxury things and not needs?
Team that built up their O-line and didn't get any receivers in the draft, the Steelers.
Or the
Bills.
Chargers.
But I don't think Harbaugh values wide receivers enough.
I think he does.
He's more like O-line and defense.
Yeah, but guess what Debo does?
O-line and D-line specifically.
Guess what Debo does?
Runs through people.
He blocks.
Yeah, but not pass blocking.
You don't need him to pass block. He's a freaking receiver. He needs to be doing receiver things. What are you talking about, Ted? Ted?
Who's the Chargers running back anyway? I don't even know.
I don't know. I know they
lost. What's his bucket? Eckler.
Eckler, yeah, went out to, where did he go to? Was it the Colt? No. Oh well.
Somewhere East Coast.
Yeah, it was an East Coast. Oh, hold on one second. We also got Alberto Soto in the house. He said, hopefully the UDFA they signed for our line will pan out. Yeah. Also,
they're basically both centers, though. Neither one's really a tackle. There's a center from Michigan.
Oh, he's guards. Yeah,
and Eckler went to the Commanders with Adam Peters.
Oh, that's right.
So
another guy who's an undrafted free agent, was it Scott Schaefer?
Something Schaefer.
Have you seen the tape on him?
I have not. I mean, I know that he led the SEC in rushing. So
Dude. Also, who was it? Is it the center? The center with the last name Nugget. He was
Nugent.
He was. He's got some accolades. It doesn't seem like he should have gone undrafted. So
he's just not very physically gifted. That's why.
Yeah.
He's short. That's basically he's short with short arms. So that's
Mr. Schaefer, I saw like a workout video. This guy got some footwork. This guy might be a nasty motherfucker. He might be a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, no. I mean, he was one of the better linemen on arguably.
Oh, I'm talking about Schaefer.
Line and football,
the running back.
And college football, that is.
Talking about Schaefer, the running back. He's got some footwork that's crazy.
From Mizzou. Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. Yeah, no. I mean, there's a lot to like. He's like a little fire plug. Great production. Again, not real fast. He's like 4.6 speed and not real tall. So that's why he slipped.
You need some sort of speed to be a running back, but you don't have to be blazing fast. Especially when your offensive line and everybody on the team is trying to block 10 of the guys and leave you one-on-one with one of them to make a move. So you're going to have a good head start as long as you can make your guy miss, because all other 10 players are going to be tangled up with the rest of your team. So it's not that it's going to be a home run hitter. It's just you're going to get a good gain before somebody can get a hold of you. And that's how we can extend drives. And to think about like what you're talking about, the 49ers going to a more pass-heavy offense, that could be nasty with the players we got. And then you're talking about then hand the ball off all of a sudden to a Christian McCaffrey when the defense isn't ready. That could be nasty, especially if you're doing like a 4 wide out, or what do we call it, or like an 11 or a like 10 personnel or whatever.
14.
There we go. And then
I guess it's the 10. You're right, it is 10.
It'd be 10, yeah.
0
tight ends. Yeah. So if you went to a 10, that would just bring the defense and spread them all out, and then you just hand the ball to Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. What are they going to do? They're going to be screwed. Either you're going to try and keep people around the line of scrimmage, and then that's going to open up holes on the back end, or you're going to spread everybody out, opening a big, huge hole up in the middle. Pick your poison.
And typically our later drafted and undrafted running backs do better than our earlier drafted ones. So that bodes well.
Our undrafted ones are probably the best.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think that's why I'm like, Jordan Mason's contract's coming up, and we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him yet. We have not seen him yet.
That could be part of the plan.
How? After last year, what makes you think that Christian McCaffrey is going to be like, yeah, give my reps to somebody else? Last year, he was like, give me the. Maybe since he didn't get the MVP, maybe he'll realize it doesn't really matter, and he can, other people can get the ball too. Not saying it's just him that way, but that's what it seemed like to me. Not that he necessarily asked for it, but I think like it was understood. And Kyle was like, I'm going to feed him the fucking ball. That's why he's here. Let's fucking get him the, this and that, trying to look. If Debo said he wanted to throw for a touchdown, kick a field goal and, do all this stuff. So maybe one time Debo, hey, Kyle, let me kick that field goal. Yeah, I got you, homie. I got you. It was just letting people that you appreciate get Drake Nugent, get to knock things off their list. Anybody else you want to talk about? real quick?
Yeah, I mean, as far as there's still some more draft picks, right? I mean,
Oh yeah,
Mustafa, we should talk about Kingston.
I like
Bethune.
Mustafa. Mustafa seems like a grown ass man out there. John Lynch called him an Adonis, which I was like, oh damn, he's got a man crush on Mustafa.
He's a big hitter. I mean, I could see him making a big impact this year because, especially if Hafanga's ACL
Yep.
isn't ready week one, and not even if it is, Hafanga is known to be a little bit injury prone. I won't say injury prone, but I'll
Who's
say
playing free safety?
injuries and his 40 time were the two biggest reasons why he dropped in the draft.
Who's playing free safety?
Well, I mean, that's it. It's going to be Huff or Jair Brown, probably Jair Brown or Mustafa, but I think Jair Brown is going to be. I said we needed to get a rangy free safety. Maybe we're going to sign somebody. There were a lot of safety free agents. Let's see who's still left.
Green can play safety.
Well, who's left is Justin Simmons, and as we talked about, Jamal Adams, but he's definitely not a free safety. So I'd say Justin Simmons is going to be the guy.
God, if the 49ers get Jamal Adams and continue to ignore the right tackle or the tackle position at all because Jalen Moore is not it. Listen here, John. I don't care what you have to think. Jalen Moore ain't it. He's had many years to figure this shit out. Same fucking mistakes. Same mistakes. Yeah. He says, Media says he was watching Drake Pancake Guys. Good. That's the new thing on the offensive line. That's what guys do to put it on tape because that's what people notice when you're going on to, oh shit, he just pancaked a dude. So that's what guys do now. They're trying to pancake these defensive linemen to kind of get their roses, essentially, to kind of get looked at. And I think it works. We like mean guys. You know what I mean? You're not going to like getting pushed around. When someone pushes you around or punks you, you're going to come back the next play and you're going to punk the shit out of them. You don't deal with that shit. I have not looked into this guy, Alberto.
Oh, he's fast. He's 4.46.
Oh.
He's older than Brock Purdy, despite Brock being drafted 2 years ago. And a lot of similar traits. So look for him to bump off Brandon Allen off QB3. And some people are saying he might even rocket past the Pasternaut, Josh Dobbs. Yeah. To be QB2.
I'm okay with that. Because I'll let Brandon Allen go bye-bye. I like Dobbs.
I don't think he'll pass Dobbs this year. I think it'll take a year for that to happen.
I don't think like the world of Dobbs, but I like his character. I like his bravado on the field. Like, he's not scared of shit. And the way I figure it is, if you're the backup and you're coming in, we probably need to win this game. Usually, you know what I mean? Like, if somebody gets hurt, having somebody in who's coy and doesn't want to do things, like, the backup's obviously not the best quarterback. You're going to have issues, but I want a guy who's going to at least attempt things, who's not scared and coy. I want somebody who's going to try and utilize the offense as it should be. And if you run enough, the defense will be taken aback and surprised when you actually drop back and pass on first down. You know what I'm saying? Give you guy a chance. I did see somebody say that the 49ers drafted the Brock Purdy of this draft, though. And that now that you say all this, I see where that came from.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then what else? As far as the rest of the draft picks go, we should definitely talk a little bit about, and we talked about Cowing, Kingston.
We're at an hour, just so you know.
Yeah, I know you got to get rolling here. Bethune looks good as a linebacker. I was saying it's smart to draft Florida State players because they were 13-0 and they only didn't make the NCAA playoffs, football playoffs, because their quarterback got hurt, not because they didn't deserve to be there by the teams they beat. They never lost.
They got a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, they got a chip on their shoulder. And they're probably a little bit undervalued because they weren't in the national championship game. They're not national champions like the Michigan players are, but they very well could have beaten Michigan with their backup quarterback. Who knows? So that's an interesting thing. And then Kingston out of USC, very much like Pooney in that he's very versatile, very athletic.
He also seems ornery.
He also played some tight end.
Yeah.
And I know you and previous shows have brought up you wanted to see Jason Poe be a sixth lineman who could catch passes. Well, someone who's a former tight end might be a great candidate for that, to be a tackle eligible.
It won't happen.
It probably won't, but
Kyle,
a man can dream.
I just figured out why Kyle will never go to jumbo.
I started to think that we'd never see Jennings throw football, and we got that in the Super Bowl. So
I kind of knew that was on. Back before I had a blowout with, or that doesn't sound great, but falling out with the so-called Jack Hammer. I told him that was going to happen. I told him, Juwan Jennings, I see this happening.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I talked about it a lot. How most of our skill position guys had a history of throwing the football, and we'd like to see more skill plays.
And that's why Kyle will never do jumbo formation, is because you have to have a certain amount of linemen out there. If you could have less linemen out there, he would, because you would have to respect the specialty player that he put in place of him. And he would use that specialty player to take them away from the quarterback. So that's what it is. He would never, it's like putting an extra lineman out there to him, I feel, would probably be like tying fingers to his hand and him only being able to utilize a couple fingers on one hand instead of a whole arm behind his back. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of make it a little, maybe tape his thumb in there so he can only use his four fingers, something like that.
Well, real quick, just to wrap up with the free agent class, Alberto Soto was saying, what about T.O.'s son? Yeah, Tariq Owens is on the practice squad, or not practice squad, but he's an undrafted free agent signed, and we'll see how that goes. And then we got a tight end finally, undrafted, a guy named Klein or Pliny. He's 6'6", 250, and has pretty good hands. It's just a matter of whether he can learn how to pass block and be a little more fluid. But Latu is certainly not standing anybody's way of getting to be tight end too. So, and I don't think the guy we signed, Eric Saubert, I think his name was, I don't think he's any good either. So this guy Klein guy, never know. He could end up being tight end too, for all we know. And then the other one of note was the defensive tackle, Evan Anderson, who got basically practice squad money, which means he's pretty likely to make the practice squad at the very least. So, and tackle's a big need with losing both Kinlaw and Eric Armstead this offseason. So, we obviously got Malik Collins. We obviously got the Splash Cousin, like our content creator's name. I feel terrible now. Jordan Elliott from the Browns, but he's more of just like a depth piece. Malik Collins is the one who should have better production than Eric Armstead did, because he's just on the field more. He's not Eric Armstead, but overall his numbers look similar because he plays more games, or has in the last couple seasons.
And he's harder to move than Eric Armstead.
True.
Not that he has more talent, but he's harder to move.
Yeah, he's more of a fire plug. Yep. Two gapper.
Well, all right. With that, I want to thank everybody for joining today. We got a lot of you guys tuning in on Twitter. Really appreciate that. Yeah, and everybody else. So thank you for tuning in today. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. Ted, you got anything going on the rest of the week?
Not as of yet. I'll have to get some things planned.
Oh,
Yeah.
A better schedule. Get your orders in, people. Start telling everybody he's got a free week. Plug that time up. All right. With that, we're out. Go Niners.
Peace. Go Niners.
Peace.